record button. All right, teammates, we are excited to be coming back to you with the third installment of our Wealth Builder training. And so what you want to do is you want to take notes. Let me see it, man. If you're taking notes, raise your notebook up, your phone, if you got that. Okay, here we go. Where you at? Where you at? I see you. Good stuff, man. You're going to need that. And so just to build on what we've been talking about for the past 2 weeks and making sure that you are equipped to do the Wealth Builder. Big shout out to Erica McKnight. I got you. I saw you in the chat. Big shout out to you, sis. Glad that you're on. All that good stuff. And so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, right? And we can get this show on the road. We got a lot to cover tonight. And so, real quick, let me change my view. All right, real quick. All right, here we go. 2020 Open Door season, year of the field trainer, year of the regional vice president. That is our motto this year. This is the year of the field trainer, year of the RVP. Well, with that being the case, one of the things of us being able to develop strong field trainers, and ultimately from field trainers produce new, powerful and strong regional vice presidents, we got to get down how to do the Wealth Builder Mobile FNA. So this is part 3 of that training. So one thing that was asked and what was talked about in the past weeks is, hey, Nick, how do we factor in teachers' retirement system, or you might hear it being called TRS? Or, how do we work in if somebody has a pension? What does that look like? And I know you guys have had clients that you've met with that they have some type of a pension, a TRS and ERS, whatever the case may be. It might be called different things depending on where you're at. But that is a part of people's retirement. And so how do we factor that in when we're putting together the Mobile FNA and the Wealth Builder? Well, I want to talk to you about that this evening and how we actually do that. And so this is where you want to take notes, family. You want to take notes on this stuff. And so let's talk about it. How do we calculate TRS and ERS? How do we calculate that? Well, there's some things and some steps we need to take, right? And so you want to write this stuff down as I go through it. And I'm using TRS and ERS because that's here in Texas, but I promise you it applies everywhere. The only thing that may change is the multiplier. And how many years of average salary or highest average salary that they use. That's the only thing that'll change, is different programs and different pension plans might use a different multiplier, right? And I'll show you what the multiplier is, and they may take into consideration a different number of years of average salary, highest average salary, all right? So do y'all got that? Y'all good? Okay, all right, perfect. And so let's talk about it. So these are some of the things and the steps to take into mind. So step 1 is you're going to take the average of the person's top 5 years of salary. The average of the person's top 5 highest salaries, right? So that's step number 1. Got that, right? So what are your 5 years of highest average salary? Well, this year I made maybe 60,000. The year after that I made 62, 65, 70, whatever the case may be. Whatever your 5 years of highest average salary, we're going to get those 5 years together, add them all together, divide it by 5, and that's the average. This is what we do for TRS and ERS here in Texas. Step 2 is you're going to determine what is the person's total years of service when they retire. How many years of service will the person have when they retire? How many years of service will they have when they retire? How many TRS years of service or ERS years of service will they have when they retire, right? So you got to determine that. These are key things that you need to know as you calculate that. Step 3, you're going to multiply whatever that years of service at retirement is by the multiplier of 2.3%. Whatever their years of service will be when they retire, you multiply that number by 2.3%. That 2.3% is the TRS ERS multiplier here in Texas. 2.3% is the multiplier. Now, if we're dealing with a pension somewhere with a corporation, or if it might be something for your city or whatever the case may be, and what benefit, the multiplier may be different. A lot of times what you're able to do is you can actually Google whatever plan that person is in, because I know the people in Louisiana, they have what they call lasers, right? And that's for, I think, some of the state employees and all that type of stuff. Somebody may know what lasers actually stands for. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I know Shanice is on, and Demita, you guys might be able to tell us. But they have their own multiplier. And what I did is I just Googled lasers, Louisiana. And man, you go to their website and they got all the goods on how that whole lasers calculation works. And you can look that up if you know what you're looking for, right? What you're looking for is the multiplier for that plan, and what is the years of the highest average years of salaries, the highest average salaries that they take into consideration for that formula. So you can do it for whatever plan that you're dealing with, if it's not TRS or ERS. And then what you do, you're going to multiply the average of those top 5 years highest salaries. You're going to multiply that salary average by the income percentage. So going back to step 3, let me go back to step 3. When you multiply the person's years of service at retirement by that 2.3%, it's going to create what they call an income percentage, right? And so what you do, that income percentage, you're going to multiply the top 5 highest average salaries by that income percentage number, and that's going to generate the person's annual TRS benefit. That's what it's going to generate. Yep, Erica says Louisiana State Employee Retirement System. Yep, so that's what LASER stands for. Thank you so much for that. And so top 5 highest average salaries multiplied by that income percentage equals the annual TRS benefit. All right. And then step 5, you divide that annual TRS benefit by 12 to get the monthly TRS benefit. Right? Divide whatever that annual benefit is by 12. That's pretty easy. Get the monthly benefit. But here's the thing. That money is going to be taxed. That money is going to be taxed. And so what you do is you take out about, I say 20% from that monthly TRS benefit amount, and that's going to be the monthly benefit after taxes. After taxes. And so these are the 6 steps that go into calculating TRS and ERS. But I know that you guys are like me. You like seeing an example, an illustration. What does this look like in a scenario and all that good stuff? I got you. Because these 6 steps don't mean nothing if you don't know how to apply them in a scenario. So I got you, right? So let's take this beautiful woman. Her name is Angela Williams, right? And she's a teacher, and she's your client. And guess what? Angela is about to retire. Now, Angela could be your aunt. She could be your church member. She can be your best friend. She can be your brother-in-law's wife. I'm sorry, not your brother. Obviously, your brother's wife, which means she's your sister-in-law. Your brother-in-law's wife, that's your sister. But y'all get what I'm saying. I mean, she could be someone that you know, or she could be a referral, right? Whoever, you find yourself in front of Miss Williams, and this is what you find out, right? She started teaching at age 28. That's when Angela started teaching, right? She's retiring at age 62. So if you do the math, that gives her 34 years of service. Y'all with me? Give me a thumbs up if y'all are with me, all right? She started teaching at 28. She's retired at age 62. You do the math, that gives her 34 years of service. Watch this, pay attention. Her average top 5 years of salary, is $64,300. And this is what her 5 years were: 61,000, 61,250, 64,000, 67,000, 67,000. You add all of these numbers up, that averages out to 64,300, right? So we got her top 5 highest years average salary. Give me a thumbs up if you're with me so far. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I've shown so far? Any questions? You can come off mute and talk to me, because I want to make sure that you guys are following, because it's a flow to it. All right? Okay, we're good. So check this out. Going back into it, resharing my screen. So we got our years of service, and we got our 5 highest years of average salary. Now, what we do is we multiply her years of service when she retires, which is 34. We multiply by the multiplier of 2.3%. Remember that multiplier, 2.3%. We multiply it. And that gives us 78.2%. 78.2%. That is her income percentage. That's 78.2%. All right? Now, what we do is we take that top 5 highest years of salary, average highest years of salary, which is 64,300, and multiply it by the income percentage, which is 78.2%, and that gives us $50,282.60. Can you guys see that? Is anybody lost? Is anybody saying, Nick, how did you get there? You lost me in the math. Is everybody good? Because I want to make sure that y'all got this down. Hopefully you're taking notes. Hopefully you're taking notes. Y'all are good? All right, perfect. And so watch this. That's what's going to be her annual TRS benefit before taxes. But we're going to divide it by 12. That gives us the before tax monthly, which is $4,190. That's what she can expect to receive from TRS before taxes. You take out about 20% of that, her standard annuity each month is going to be roughly about $3,352 a month after taxes. This is what Angela is going to receive every single month from TRS, $3,352. Now, let me tell you something. When you do this calculation for people that are teachers or pensions, they have no clue what their number is. And when you show them this, it's so eye-opening for them. And one of the first things that may come out of their mouth is, that's not going to be enough money. That's not going to be enough money. And a lot of times they're right. But they've never had anyone show them how to calculate their TRS benefit. They've gotten some sheets of paper, they've gone on the TRS website and all of that good stuff, but they've never really had somebody come through and break it down like you're going to be able to break it down to them. And so with that, that's the after-tax money. That's circled right there, $3,352. Now, is this an exact number? No, it's not going to be an exact number, family, but it's going to be a rough estimate. It's going to be a good roundabout number, because guess what? When you're helping people plan for their and factor in their TRS, they may not be at retirement age. Now, if she's at retirement age, then we could probably pull her most recent TRS statement and get really, really accurate numbers. But if you're dealing with somebody that might be in their 20s or their 30s or their 40s, and they're not going to be retiring for another 15, 20 years or so, then you're just going off estimated numbers. And so the numbers aren't going to be exact, because we don't know what their top 5 highest average salaries are going to be. We don't know that. We're just kind of estimating, right? And so, and then they say that, hey, I'm probably going to retire at this age. Well, it's based on that. And so the numbers are going to be a rough estimate. We don't know exactly what's going to be deducted out of their TRS benefit per month, but we just say, hey, we're going to do a standard 20%. We're going to take that out, and that's going to be roughly what your monthly annuity is going to be from your plan. And so, anybody have any questions? Any comments? Any questions? Everybody good? All right. So There's something else that I want to talk about. We won't necessarily get into it today, but if you have a client, this is for people who actually have a client that is about to retire and they have TRS. This monthly amount does not include Angela taking a lump sum from her TRS, right? It does not include that. And let me say this, if she takes a lump sum from her TRS, it is going to lower her monthly annuity amount. And guess what, family? 99.9% of the teachers should take a lump sum from their TRS. And the way TRS works is that you can either take 1 year's worth of your highest average salary, 2 years worth of your highest average salary, or 3 years worth of your highest average salary. Whatever the case may be, teachers need to take a lump sum. I normally recommend the second option, which you're taking 2 years worth. Some teachers may need the 3, but it just gives them cash on hand, because if a teacher retires and they do not take a lump sum out of their TRS, TRS will not let them come back and get a lump sum later. They have to do that at the beginning when they file their TRS retirement paperwork. And so I always advise people, it's just in your best interest to get some lump sums off of your TRS, because that lump sum amount can help us fund their emergency fund strategy and also their lifestyle strategy, right? And so that's what that money can be used for. And so we won't necessarily factor that in with her. We're just going over the basic calculation of how to factor in TRS. And when you're doing TRS calculations and factoring that into the Mobile FNA, you won't go into the whole rigmarole of, well, let's factor in a lump sum amount. If you take that out, don't do that. Just keep it simple and just make it the standard annuity. All right. Any comments or questions? Anybody have any comments or questions before I move forward? All right. We're good. All right. Perfect. All right. Excellent. And so this is a new tool that I just put out on our virtual base shop. I think you guys will like this. This is a very simple sheet, man. It's a calculating future TRS benefit sheet. It's on our virtual base shop. It is an editable file, so you can type directly into this sheet. And there's even a math field there. So if you type in the years of service number, it'll actually calculate that percentage amount, right? And so how do you get to it? You go to the virtual base shop. And when you go to our virtual base shop page from the Primerica online homepage, you click on that link, or I'm sorry, not that link, but that tab up at the top that says base shop resources right here. You click that tab, and then what comes up is all of the different scripts and resources that we have. You'll scroll down, and under the Wealth Builder Financial Needs Analysis section right here, there it is. You go out there now, it shows up, TRS calculation sheet. And this will help you figure out and calculate a client's benefit for TRS. It also works for ERS as well. All right?
Nick, quick question.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I wanted to see, what's the youngest they can actually get their TRS money? Is that 59 and a half?
They can get the TRS money as long as they're eligible for retirement. They can get it sooner than that. And so the money that they start receiving from TRS, if they're younger than age 59 and a half, it's not penalized for early withdrawal, nothing like that. If they're receiving the money every month, they can get it. They'll just be taxed on it just as normal taxes, but they can get it. Now, if they're talking about a teacher can roll their money over out of TRS. So let's just say that you have a person that they stop teaching and they're not in that profession anymore. They go into a different industry. Well, TRS takes about 7% or so of their income out of their check, because teachers don't pay Social Security tax here in Texas. So that money is going into their TRS. That's basically teachers' Social Security. And so if they leave teaching and they get out of it, whatever money that they put into their TRS, it is eligible to be rolled out of TRS into an IRA. Now, if they cash that money out, then you're talking about an early withdrawal penalty of 10%. Then, and on top of that, the taxes and all that, because they're not 59 and a half. But they can roll that money over out of TRS if they want to. Did that answer your question, Omar?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. And then all that money in there is pre-tax. Therefore, when they retire, they will have to pay taxes, right? Whether it's through the TRS option or rolled over into an IRA, of course.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay.
When they roll it over into an IRA, any money that they take out of the IRA that they roll it over into, that money will be taxed. The rollover amount won't be taxed because that's going from a qualified plan to a qualified plan. When it moves from the TRS plan into an IRA, that's not a taxable event. It's just when they start taking it out of the IRA, that's when the taxes happen. Whatever amount.
And then last question is, and it also could be a rollover into a annuity, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
And roll it over into an annuity plan, whether it is an index variable annuity, whether it's a variable annuity, even if it's just a fixed index annuity, that money can be rolled over into one of those options, one of those plans.
Okay, yeah, I just recently read on a strategy from teachers to roll the money from TRS into an annuity, which is going to ensure them they actually have the same amount that they were getting when they were employed, as opposed to pay reduction when they actually get the money out of the TRS, just a regular lump sum. So,
Good.
okay, I just wanted to answer those questions. Thank you, man.
All right, perfect. Now,
also, one thing I want to add, as far as like if you do switch professions coming from education, and I know that because of what I'm personally looking at myself, you have 5 years to transfer that money, and if you don't do it within that 5 years, you will be penalized for not moving it or being in that profession. So if you do leave education, make sure you do move your money within those 5 years.
Very good. Very good. I didn't know that. That's good. So great information, guys. Thank you for sharing that. But I'm telling you right now that, it's a lot of teachers retiring right now. They're getting out of the profession. This pandemic has put a lot of stress and strain on people. There's a lot of people getting out of the teacher profession and they're not retirement age. They're just going to do something different because they don't want to do it. They don't want to deal with it anymore. And when these people leave the teaching profession, it's going to create a windfall of opportunity for them to be able to roll their money over. And so who's going to help them? I mean, we could be there to do that and help them strategize for that. But in the meantime, for those who are going to stick around with teaching, we need to know how to factor that into their whole wealth builder scenario. All right. And so I'm going to get to that and how to factor that whole piece in. But this is just where that tool is. So this is the scenario that we're going to use real quick, and then we'll go into a whole role play deal. But I'm not going to role play this. I'm just going to kind of go straight to it and show you guys how to factor in Teresa McIntosh's TRS. So this time I've modified her client details from what we've been dealing with for the past couple of weeks when Benicia and I, or Coach B Walk and I have been role playing. And so I've kind of changed some things a little bit to make it, because I'm making her a person that's in education. Let's say that she is a teacher, right? Still the same scenario, one kid, date of birth. Her income is a little bit different. So her income is $67,000, right? She's been teaching for 15 years, right? She's been teaching for 15 years. She says that, hey, I want to retire at age 62. Her desired monthly income is now $4,000 a month. This is what she has in a 403B. She has $78,000 in a 403B. She is investing $400 a month, $200, twice a month is coming out of her check. And then her estimated 5 years highest income when she retires at age 62, she was conservative. She said, hey, it'll probably be maybe $85,000, right? And so these are her numbers when it comes to that. Then, of course, everything else is the same, no life insurance, mortgage balance, all that stuff, blah, 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 right? So let's talk about Teresa's situation, right? A little bit different than what it was the past 2 weeks. A little bit different, but we just made her a person that's in education so we can kind of show the example a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log back in, and I'm going to check out Teresa's Wealth Builder so you guys can see me do that as well. From Primerica, if you idle for too long, they'll log you out. Boy, oh, man, it kicked me out of the little Primerica app. Man, I was coming back. All right, cool. So, all right, let me share my screen with you guys so you guys can see what I see. And And so in the Primerica app, right, where do we go, Nick? All right, this top left-hand corner, what you gonna do, click on that hamburger menu. Voila, hold on, why it ain't doing the thing from, okay, here we go. Click on the hamburger menu, then you're gonna scroll down to where it says Mobile FNA, right? That is the tool we use to be able to do the wealth builder. All right. So wait on the screen to come up. Boom. All right, this comes up. Let's search Teresa out. Where you at, Teresa? Yep, there you go right there. We got a couple of versions of Teresa in here, but we're going to use the Teresa McIntosh with a K on the Macintosh. Yep, we already got her information in here. This is her date of birth. She's 42 years old. We saying, hey, in life, there's two major financial risks: dying too soon, live too long. Explain that. We say, hey, the first thing that we want to deal with is your roadmap to retirement, right? Teresa, realistically, what age do we want to retire? She said, hey, 62. Got it. All right, perfect. Well, let's talk about what's your current gross monthly income. It's 67,000, right? Well, you know, let's fast forward to age 62. How much money do you want to live off of per month in retirement? She said, I'm going to live off $4,000 a month. Okay, you want to live off $4,000 a month. Great, right? And so let's look at the effect of inflation, right? Can you guys see this? It says the effect of inflation. How does inflation affect your goal? Due to inflation, the cost of items you purchase will increase. Your income goal will also need to increase to keep up with inflation. We use an inflation rate of 3%. 3%. So if you look at $4,000 today, you fast forward them years until she turned from 42, she wanted to retire at 62. That's 20 years, right? You fast forward 20 years, that $4,000 is going to be equivalent to $7,224. And Teresa, this is the number one reason why people run out of money in retirement, because they never factor in inflation. They don't know it's going to take $7,200 a month just to buy $4,000 worth of stuff. You can see that. She's going to say yes. Great. And now, if she did not have TRS or pension, we would immediately go to the next screen and show her FIN number, which is $1,750,895. That's her FIN number, about 1.75 million, without factoring in TRS or a pension. But she has TRS. So we need to factor that in. And when we factor it in, family, it's going to change her FIN number. I'm going to repeat that. When we factor in TRS, or if you factor in the client's pension, it is going to change that client's FIN number, right? And so this is what we're going to do. How do we factor that in? Well, let's go back a screen, right? So everybody see this future dollar right here? This future dollar? Yep, 7,224, right? Let's find out what Teresa's TRS benefit is going to be. Remember that number, that's 7,224. That number is going to be very vital and important a little bit later. All right, but what we're going to do is we're going to factor in, and we're going to do Teresa's TRS. All right, we got it queued up. Check this out as I cue this up. Boom. All right. So this is the TRS calculation sheet that I just showed you guys. That's on our virtual base shop under base shop resources. So when we're dealing with Teresa, we say, hey, okay, Teresa, we're going to help you calculate what your future TRS benefit is, right? Has anyone ever showed you this? 90% of the time, she's going to say no. Nobody's ever shown me. Okay, so we're going to factor in your TRS and show you just a rough estimate of what your future benefit's going to be. All right. And so, how many years of service are you going to have when you retire? Right. Well, how do you know that? Well, Teresa's already told us that she has 15 years of service. She's already got that. And she's going to be retiring 20 years from now. So all you got to do is say, okay, how many years of service you got? when you're talking about retiring, what age you're at? Okay, so the number of years between now and when you're ready to retire is 20 years. So we just add the 20 to the 15 you already got. So that's 35 years of service that she's going to have. Everybody with me? You got that? Thumbs up if you got that. Anybody confused on that? Good? All right, perfect. So let's go to it. So she's going to have 35 years of service. Type it in. Where we at? Hold on. 35 years, sir. There it is. Teresa, what do you think roughly your 5 years highest average salary is going to be? What do you think that number is going to be? And this is where she talks. It'll probably be about maybe 85,000. Okay, great. Right, 85,000. All right, so we type that in. Let me tell y'all this, family. Don't let nobody be giving you weird, crazy high numbers. Like they're making $50,000 a year now. They talking about they 5 years highest average salary going to be 150,000. Don't do that. Don't let nobody do that to you. You tell them, hey, I understand that that's what you probably want to be making, but what we're going to do, we're going to be really conservative. You're making 50,000 now. You're talking about retiring another 20 years. Let's just bring it up to maybe 70,000, right? It's best to be conservative with this. I can't stress that enough. It's best to be conservative with this. So don't let nobody take you from 50 to 150. Don't do that. All right. Just a sidebar. All right. And so, and now what we're going to do, we have her years of service. We have her 5 years highest average salary. So what you do is you type in her years of service right here, and it's going to create what her percentage of income is going to be. 80.5%. 80.5%. And so I just realized that I didn't do the math on the other parts. I could probably did that. I'll work on that and I'll update this TRS sheet so it'll go ahead and do all the math for us. But in the meantime, you just take her 85,000. That's the highest average salary that she'll be making. And you multiply that 85,000 by 80.5%. And that gives you $68,425. Yep, before taxes. Then what you do, and that's per year, you take 80% of that, and that's going to be the after tax. So 80% of that is 54,740, right? And then all you got to do is divide that 54,740, divide that by 12, and her monthly benefit that she's going to receive is $4,561. You can round it up to $562. That's going to be roughly what she's going to receive per month from TRS. If she works and has 35 years of service and her 5 years highest average salary is 85,000, this is what she's probably going to receive per month from TRS, about $4,562. Did everybody see what I did there and how I got that number? Y'all good?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. All right. So now
I do have a question, Nick.
Yes, ma'am. Talk to me, Mom.
On your form, where you have the 2.3, will that be a variable? Can I take that 2.3 out and insert what it would be for like the state of PA?
You know what? It's not a variable. What I can do is I can make it one.
Okay.
I can make it one. So that way it can be something that you can plug and play whatever that variable is.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll create a separate sheet to where you can just plug in the variable. I'll call it a pin. And okay. This is the TRS sheet is just stays the same, but I'll create another one, just like a pension general sheet to where you can plug in the variable, whatever variable multiplier. What's the multiplier? Whatever multiplier that you want to plug in.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I can do that.
Nick, on that same question, why would that multiplier change?
It just depends on the plan. So each plan is going to have its own multiplier. It's just what it is. And then if a state-sponsored program, everybody sets their own multiplier. You know, pensions the multiplier might be 1.9% instead of 2.3. It just depends. It depends.
Okay.
So, but having the ability to be able to change that number, that multiplier, according to whatever plan that you're calculating the payment for, it will come in handy. It will come in handy.
Hey, Coach, got a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, not trying to get ahead or anything, but if a client decides that they want to take 1 year lump sum, how do you factor in? Is the same calculation in terms of what they're going to get paid out monthly? Is just going to subtract that from the total amount of?
Yeah, it is. There's a formula for that. What I stopped doing is that I don't get into the weeds of that.
Okay.
Dealing with somebody that is about 20 years from retirement, I don't even factor that in because it's a lot of variables that are associated with that, and I don't want to get people's hopes up that, you know what I'm saying? So I don't factor. The only time I take in that lump sum for their TRS is if they are about to retire and we kind of have real numbers that we're working with, or they're close to retirement. That's the only time that I'll do it.
So if you do have the real numbers and they're close to retirement, then it's still going to be the subtraction.
Yep.
Whatever the first year or 2 years is, and then whatever they have left.
Yeah, if you're dealing with real numbers, that's the best numbers to have. But you really deal with real numbers when you have somebody that is about to retire. And when they have their TRS sheet and their statement, and this is what it is, and then you can actually plug in their real numbers, and it'll be able to spit it out for you. And so, but yeah, that's the, and then you'll be able to factor in that lump sum amount and all of that. And I mean, and you can really give them a super accurate depiction of what their retirement is going to look like.
So what you're saying is you don't have to do the calculations because they have a sheet that actually has the information in it.
Yep, you can just take the numbers off the sheet and just not even do this calculation sheet and just use it in the mobile FNA data and just use it there. And so what I'm about to show you guys next is what do you do with that number? So let me reshare the sheet. So this number right here, this $4,562, what do you do with that number, right? So we went through this calculation sheet with Teresa to kind of estimate what her monthly TRS benefit will be when she retires at age 62. We're seeing that it's going to be $4,562. And let me say this, TRS does not adjust for inflation. That number is locked in. It's what it is. If she lives 20 years after retirement, she's still going to be receiving that same $4,562, right? And so how do we use that number? Well, I'm glad you asked. So 4,562 is the number. So what you're going to do, you see this future dollar number right here? We just talked about that before we went over to the sheet, the 7,000 plus. You're going to subtract that 4,562 from this 7,224. You're going to subtract her TRS estimated benefit, monthly benefit, from what she'll need in a future benefit. So let's do the math on that. It's 7,224 minus 4,562. That leaves you, what number do y'all got? What y'all got? I want to make sure y'all doing y'all math right. What's the number?
2662.
2662.
Yep.
Everybody should have 2662. That's what you should have, right? 2662. Now, what does that mean? That means that of the $7,224 that she will need per month in retirement, $4,000, $4,500 of that is going to come from TRS, but that's going to leave her a monthly shortfall of $2,662. That difference of $2,662, that's going to have to come from her personal savings. Are y'all with me? That's going to have to come from her personal savings. But how do you do that? I'm going to show you. Let me reshare the screen. What you want to do now, and this is going to take some just kind of massaging of the data and just kind of trial and error and playing with the information, playing with the numbers. You're going to try to make this future number, listen to me, this is where it is. You need to try to make this future dollar number get as close to that $2,662 number as possible. I'm going to repeat that. That future dollar amount, you need to get it as close to 2,660 to where it says as close to $2,662 as possible. So what that means is you're going to have to go back to the previous screen and play with this number right here and lower it enough until when you go to this screen here, that future number says 2,662. I'm gonna come off share. Does everybody understand what I'm doing? Is anybody confused on what I'm doing? Everybody got it. All right, perfect. And so let's see it at work, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down to 1,500. I know that that's probably not enough, but let's see what it says on the other screen. I'm close. That 1,500, it got me to a future dollar amount of $2,709. That's kind of close to the 2,662 we're trying to get to, but let's kind of dip down a little bit more, all right? Let's go to 1,400 and see if that's too much. A little bit too much, right? That put me in a future number of 2,528. All right, let's go to 1,450. Let's go there. 1,450. Okay, that got me to 2,618. Man, I'm just a little OCD with that. I think I can get a little bit better. Let me go to 1,460. Let me see what that does. Okay, all right, I'm almost there, 2,636. Some of y'all might tap out at that. Man, I'm just going to go for it, man. I'm like, man, I think I can get it. Let's go 1,470. Let's see how close that gets. All right, man. Okay, hold on. We going to look. I go just one more. All right, 1,475. Let's see where we get to with that. Boom! There we go. We got about as close to 2,662 as we possibly could, right? Everybody see what I did? Any questions about that?
So what instances do you do that for? You do that for pensions, you do that for TRS? What
Do it for
instances?
pensions and TRS and ERS. That's what we do. For pensions and TRS. If somebody has a pension plan, all you would do is say, okay, what is your monthly pension amount going to be when you retire? And if they have, a lot of times people can get a pension statement, and pensions, a lot of times through their portal, you can calculate what your future pension benefit is going to be. Hey, if I retire at this age, you know, they kind of do the math behind the scenes, and it'll calculate what your pension benefit would be if you retire at age 62. It'll be this number. Well, you do the same thing. You take whatever that pension benefit number is going to be, you subtract it from that future dollar number, and now you're trying to play with the numbers to get to it. And so that's what you're doing. And so now,
Excuse me.
Yes, go for it.
I was writing. Did you? I know Rahima said, when do you use it? You said for pension, for TRS. Would you use it for Social Security benefits? I mean, you don't have the multiplier, but how do you take that into consideration if you have someone 55?
Yeah, if somebody is about to retire, I kind of do that on a case-by-case basis, Mom. I do.
Okay.
If somebody is pushing the Social Security age, like they're about to start drawing Social Security, I'm going to do it for anybody that is like 50, 55 years old. I won't factor in Social Security.
Okay.
If somebody is about to retire, and let's say that they're 62, and they're saying, hey, I'm about to start drawing my Social Security benefit, and this is what my benefit is going to be, then I'll probably factor it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what you would do it. You would massage and play with that future dollar amount.
Correct.
Go back and change it around that on the income goal page, that monthly income goal?
Correct.
Okay.
That's it.
Hey, Nick, quick
Mhm.
question. Can they pull out any of the money from the pension while they're still employed as teachers?
They,
I mean, TRS,
no, they
or
can't.
it's just like a 401k that they cannot.
Yeah, no, it's not even like a 401k because a 401k, you can kind of borrow money from your 401k. So you have access to it. TRS is different. From my understanding, you cannot pull any money from your TRS unless you separate from service, from teaching.
Okay. Perfect.
Yep. Yeah, you can't even do an in-service withdrawal. You can't do none of that from TRS. You can't do none of that action, bro.
There are instances where people have retired and, pull their TRS and then came back. But when
Mm-hmm.
you do that, like Nick said earlier, the years of services starts over.
Yep. So people have done that. Yep. And so now that we've got the number, and now we're close to whatever that number is, now we can show them their financial independence number with TRS factored in. We can show her, this is Teresa's financial independence number with TRS factored in. See, that's different from that 1.7 million. Once we factor in TRS, what she needs to come up with from her personal savings to be able to make up that difference, by the time she turns age 62, Teresa needs to have $645,641. That's the amount of money that she needs to have by the time she turns age 62 in a personal investment account, retirement account. That's what she needs, 645. That is her FIN number, right? And so if we look at it and see, okay, great, based on what you have set aside so far in retirement and what you're contributing per month now, by the time you turn age 62, you're on track to have about 621,000. You need 645. You only short about 24,000. So you there, like you're basically there. You will be on track to be able to hit your goal at retirement. But if we did not factor in her TRS like we did, these numbers would look dramatically different for her. She would have a larger shortfall. She would be thinking that I'm not going to be able to retire when I want to retire because we didn't factor in TRS. It's the same thing with a pension. If you don't factor that in, it's going to create a scenario to where you're not giving the client as accurate information as you could. It might not be 100% accurate, but it'll be more accurate than if you did not factor in their TRS or their pension. All right. And so, and then you show her the shortfall. The shortfall should be really next to nothing. She's saving $400 a month. We say, now we want to give you the answer to the question that most people don't know to ask, and that is, how much do you need to be saving per month? You're saving $400 now. What the system is telling us, you need to be saving $441 a month. So just an additional $41 a month will get you on track to being able to hit your financial independence number by the time you turn age 62. And of course, if you can do more, that'll put you in a position where you can retire earlier. You can retire sooner than age 62. Let me ask you something. Would you be open to creating a strategy for yourself where you can retire sooner than age 62? Yes, let's go for it. All right. So we're going to talk about that. And that way you can go ahead and paint that picture for her that way.
Do you have
Thank you.
some kind of, do you have are your settings on default settings, or do you have some other things in the background like percentages and rates and stuff that's affecting your numbers? Are you using default info?
That's a great question. I've been doing it for so long, I don't even know if these are the default settings. Let me show you guys what Rahima's talking about. It's these assumptions right here. And it may be, no, it's not there. These assumptions right here. The assumptions that I have set, we always use the inflation rate of 3%. That is a little high, but I'm okay with that. And I need you to be okay with that. Using a 3% inflation rate. You don't want to, we used to use a 2%. I think that's just gambling. 3% is good. Even if it's a little high, it still puts a client in a mind frame that they need to over prepare for their retirement. So 3% inflation rate is good. So you want to make sure it's there. I think that is the default. When it comes to financial independence number, the rate of return on the investments that we use is 8%. Now it allows you to max this out at 9%, but the company, they kind of want us to do an 8% return when it comes to this thing. It wants to do an 8% return. So it's a very moderate / somewhat conservative growth percentage. And that's good. You don't want to overestimate on the rate of return percentage before retirement. If they do better than 8%, with God, we know we want our clients to do better than 8% in rate of return. It'll just be a bonus for them. But at least it paints a picture for them that shows them if you just got an 8% return before you retire, then this is what you'll be on track to have. Does that make sense? And so I believe that those are the defaults that are in there. The 8% rate of return before retirement, the 4% during retirement, and the 3% inflation rate. This life expectancy of age 85, I don't mess with that. I leave it at age 85. Please don't get into conversations with clients about you gonna live longer than 85. Don't do that. When you start messing with that number and pushing that number out, you making that number age 92 and all that type of stuff, look, what you do is you say, hey, the life expectancy that the computer generates is age 85. Now, you could live for longer, you could live for shorter, but this is going to give you a chance to where you have, in her scenario, a solid 23 years in retirement, where this money will last you for 23 years. And they're fine with that. They're fine with that. When you get into playing with that number and pushing it further out in the future, it just creates a big chasm in terms of their financial independence number. It just makes it, it warps it. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So let's say that you get into this whole conversation, you're leading this client to say, hey, you know, does your family live long and this, that, and the other long? Yeah, my mama lived to age 92 and, you know, my granny lived to age 95. Okay, let's change yours to age 92, right? So you do that. That financial independence number goes up to $813,000, right? That creates $191,000 a month shortfall. So look at this. That monthly goes from $400 to now her shortfall is $324 a month. That's her monthly shortfall. I don't really play with that. I don't mess with that. If you want to help yourself out, I wouldn't play with it either. Leave it at the default age 85 and keep it simple. Keep it simple. And that way it doesn't create objections and things like that. All right. Any questions about that? Anything?
I have a question. Where would you factor in if someone has, like, for example, for teachers or even, you know, non who are getting a pension, and let's say they have a 403B, where would you factor that in? Because some teachers have those.
Talking about, hold on, what was the question again? If somebody has a pension?
No, if they have a we just discussed pension, but where would you factor in if they had a 403B, which is a retirement account that already exists, but let's say they've only been putting $20 in or $15 in, which may not be helping them meet their shortfall. Where would you
Gotcha,
factor
yeah.
what you've done?
And so this is where any retirement account money goes. Like if they have a 403B or something like that, it all goes on this page right here. It says current assets. How much do you have? Now that you know how much you need, how much do you currently have saved? What is your retirement savings? So whatever balance they have in their 403B, that number goes right there. So with Teresa, she had $78,000 in her 403B, and she does $200 a pay period. She gets paid twice a month, and so her monthly contribution is $400. You able to see that? Chadrika, did you catch that? You see it?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I was not.
Okay, all right, perfect. And so that's where we factor in their personal retirement account, like a 403B. And if they have, let's just say that she had a 403B and she had an IRA. Let's say she was doing $400 a month into a 403B. She's doing $100 a month into an IRA. It all factors into that. We'll say, well, how much do you have in your IRA. Well, I got about 10 grand in there. So we add that 10,000 to this, instead of 78,000, it'd be 88,000. And we'll add another $100 a month to this. So that's $500. Boom. If that was the case, she'll have a surplus. She'll have a surplus. But any retirement money that a client has, the balance of it, you put it right here. And whatever they're contributing per month towards their retirement, you put that right there. You do not put any personal savings, checking account, contributions, and all that. You do not put that number here. We're not factoring in any personal savings like a savings account, money market account, checking account. None of that money goes. It's only retirement money that goes right there on that page, and retirement monthly savings that goes on that page. All right. And so there it is. And that is how you factor in TRS. That's how you factor that in. All right. And so any questions about any of that? I have my notes. I'm going to create another sheet to where you can enter in the multiplier and be able to change that calculation percentage based on the multiplier. And yeah, we'll go from there. Omar, you got a question or comment?
No, no question. Just kind of like a comment. Like that's for everybody that's in the team. If you're not licensed in life insurance, definitely get licensed. But everybody that's licensed on life insurance that is not licensed in investments, I mean, we create these fantastic plans for people that can change their lives and the people next generations. I think for the people that's not licensed in investment securities license, get your securities license so that way you can build a balanced business and you can have income from the life insurance side of it and also the investment. At the same time, you do the full service for the client. It was just kind of like a side note for the people that are not licensed for investments to get licensed and take advantage of the full plan that we create for people.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments? Appreciate that, Omar. That is amazing. Good stuff. Anybody else? All right, man. So y'all know enough to be dangerous on this whole how to factor in TRS and pensions. By doing that, it will do your clients good to see that. And I know that we have a lot of teacher clients, and you guys have a lot of teacher and people in educational relationships. So it's just going to be good for you to be prepared. And I'm encouraging you to watch this training over again and listen to it over again just to get it down on how did Nick go through that. Because I promise you, just by seeing it this one time, you're probably not going to get it. It's going to be, you're going to be more familiar with it, but watch it a couple of times and get really, really familiar with it. I know when I first started factoring in TRS into people's retirements, and it just became one of those things to where it separated me from a lot of other advisors that were out there. They'll come through and they'll do some quick numbers on a board and all that type of stuff. And I would always ask teachers when I meet with them, has anyone ever taught you how to calculate your TRS? And a lot of them said no, never known how to do that. And they have been teaching for years. And some of them will say, somebody showed me that, the guy who did my form, he showed me that, but I don't remember nothing about what he said or what she said. And so you being able to say, well, let me show you. This is how we factor in TRS. And you walk them through that calculation and you do it in a way to where they understand and they educate them. It creates a lot of trust and you bring a lot of value to the table on that. Same thing with a pension. And you factor in a person's pension plan. Now, again, you're probably not going to have to do a lot of calculations by hand for pensions if the person is able to bring their pension information to the table, right? But if they can't, then you might have to factor in some of that stuff by hand. Like I got a client I got to meet with tomorrow. We were meeting on Sunday afternoon, and she didn't have her pension information. And I'm saying I'm not about to look. She worked for Social Security. She's a government employee. I'm like, I'm not about to look on that website and dig through that stuff. I'm like, are you able to print out your pension, your estimated pension? Yeah, I can just go to the website. I'm just not in a place where I can log in. Great. We're going to do that. Okay, get that statement, what age you want to retire. We already figured that out. Let me know what your estimated pension benefit is going to be at that age. And guys, this is something that you can inform the client of on the first appointment. You tell them, hey, do you have a pension at your job? No, you don't? Okay, great. Well, boom, boom, boom. You just keep it going. If they say, yes, I think I'm going to get a pension from a job. Great. Are you able to get an estimated pension benefit amount when you retire from your job? Yes, I can. Okay, great. I need you to get that and have that ready for our wealth builder appointment. Let that be part of the client's homework assignment, that they get that information and have it ready for you. Sean, did you have a question or a comment?
I just had a quick question about the making the 2.3% a variable. What's the sources for those numbers? And then the other thing was the tax rate. So you had a before tax, after tax. So you just looked that up maybe in the IRS tables, the tax rate?
No, I just did a standard rate of 20%.
Okay.
It could be more, it could be less. It just depends on what their income bracket is going to be at the time that they retire. But I just chop 20% off top. If you want to be aggressive, you might take 30%. I just think 30% just really just deflates people sometimes. But I just take 20% off and let them know that, hey, this isn't an accurate number. This is kind of a rough estimate. Your monthly benefit could be more, it could be less, but this is just kind of a rough ballpark number of what you might receive per month from your TRS. But the multiplier number, where I get that, depending on their plan, like I know TRS's number. I've done the research. I know what their multiplier number is. But if I'm working with another entity and another plan, what I'll do is I'll Google it. I'll say, what's the name of your plan? I have ETARS or whatever the case may be. Okay, so this is the state of, is it a state plan? Is it a city plan? Okay, it's a state plan. Okay, great. So I look that up and I Google it. And I Google whatever the plan name is, benefit calculator. Whatever the name of the plan is, benefit calculator or benefit calculation. And links come up. Links will come up for that plan, and you can go straight to the information on their website that shows you how to multiply it. I mean, Google is a powerful tool. And so if you do that, you'll be able to find it. You'll be able to find a lot of it just by Googling it. But if a person already has that information handy, that's even better. But yeah, but most people don't, so you might have to do some research on your own. Anybody else have any questions? Good stuff. Did y'all find that this was helpful? All right, perfect. Man, I didn't think that was going to take that long, but I always be underestimating stuff. So what we'll do, we're going to continue this whole wealth builder training into the month of February. We're going to go into it because I don't want to move on to anything else until we get really solid in this area, because this is the area that's going to make you guys money. And you having confidence and knowing how to navigate it and how to have the prudence to do this or do that, and just being able to do it the right way. That's important to me, and it should be important to you. So we're going to spend some more time here. So I know next Tuesday is going to be our Recognition Tuesday, but then the Tuesday after that, we'll pick it back up. We'll pick it back up and we'll keep it going, and that'll be a solid role play. That's what we'll use. The most of the balance of training is that second Tuesday in February, and we'll continue on to give you guys that opportunity to role play and just get good at it. And in the meantime, as we are doing Wealth Builders for clients, I need you guys to please listen to and watch these trainings. Please listen to them and watch them and internalize them, and to get your Wealth Builder companion sheet, get very familiar with it, watch it, because I'm going to be on appointments with some of you guys, and that's what I'm looking for. Like, are you getting better at it? Are you getting more solid at it? Because if you want to be a field trainer, you want to be able to show how to get those results systematically. And this is the system that we have in place to where you can get those results, and it works. You know, yeah, it works, guys. It works. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and stop the training right here. I thank you guys. Make sure that you plug in on these Tuesdays so you continue to get the rest of these trainings. I appreciate you guys so much.